Kendrick Lamar recently witnessed Drake release 3 albums in a single night, take over Toronto's CN Tower like a supervillain, and discuss Drake in almost every song on Iceman. The Compton Turkey freebies, the bot farms, the hype jokes, the streaming stats, the conscious rap image, and everything else pointed straight to K-Dot's chest. Kendrick hasn't even spoken yet. Not a single story, message, or mysterious lyric was released at midnight. Nothing. Complete quiet. And so, the loudest thing in hip-hop at the moment is that silence. The last time Drake came this hard and Kendrick went silent, the culture was completely upended by what returned. After letting Drake and Cole do all the talking, the man released Euphoria, Meet the Grams, and Not Like Us consecutively, transforming Aubrey Graham from the biggest rapper alive into the most ridiculed figure in the music business. You all need to know exactly what we're in front of when I tell you that the streets are currently watching every single move. Iceman was released by Drake on May 15, 2026. For 2 solid years, he had been preparing for this. Lawsuits were dismissed for 2 years. I watched Kendrick win 5 Grammys for a diss single about him for 2 years. 2 years of witnessing Kendrick play Not Like Us in front of 120 million spectators during the Super Bowl halftime show, with the crowd yelling "certified pedophile" so loudly that the stadium rocked. His legacy was discussed in the past tense for 2 years while he sat in silence. Everyone believed that this was the one when Drake eventually made a comeback. Here, Drake makes an appearance and explains to the world why he has been in charge of this game for 15 years. After that, the record was released. Drake continued to discuss Kendrick throughout the entire process. "I'm still discussing Kendrick. And that's all you need to know about the true status of this dispute. So, we are dissecting everything today. Every bar Drake hurled at Iceman that was directed at K-Dot, every perspective he took, and the precise way Kendrick reacted to this whole affair. Because the response has already occurred, I assure you, family. You guys simply failed to notice it. I'll explain it to you. You have to go all the way back to understand why Iceman hits differently. Not in 2024. Not in that manner. Family, we're heading back to 2011. Drake and Kendrick were genuinely brothers at the time. Compton kid Kendrick Lamar recently graduated from the XXL freshman class. He was still unknown outside of the West. Jumped on the song Buried Alive interlude from Drake's 2011 album, Take Care. He's not rapping alongside Drake over a rhythm in this segment. A lengthy solo interlude on Drake's most popular album at the time. That was the building's level of affection. Drake was already a superstar at the top of the charts. For the next 2 years, he put people onto Kendrick, a young, promising friend from the West. It was all love. They were colleagues. 2 of the most gifted men of their generation are creating their own lanes while traveling in tandem. However, in 2013, Kendrick Lamar unleashed a verse on Big Sean's Control that completely altered the conversation. This is the core of everything, no cap. He particularly mentioned Drake as one of the rappers he was lyrically targeting. Kendrick has always been wired differently, not because of personal drama or beef. He raps as though he's attempting to secure a lasting victory. He referred to it as friendly competition. Drake didn't see it that way. Not totally. From then on, you could sense the energy between them changing in temperature. For the next 10 years, Drake would always respond that everything was well when someone inquired about Kendrick. However, the subliminals were always present if you paid close attention to the words. There was always a seething tension beneath the surface. Then came 2023. John. Cole performed something that, in retrospect, ignited the longest fuse in hip-hop history when he and Drake released First-Person Shooter. He referred to himself, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar as the Big Three in contemporary rap. 3 kings sharing the throne on an equal basis. Kendrick drew the line in the sand there. Kendrick Lamar embarks on Future and Metro Boomin's collaborative effort within March 2024 with a record titled like that. In the song, K-Dot states, "Mother font, the Big Three, it's just Big Me," while staring straight into the camera. The flame was kindled. Here's the actual tea, though. Everyone assumed Kendrick was just talking his stuff and being competitive. Nobody realized at the time that Kendrick had already declared war. It's not a fight or a rap feud in which two men exchange bars for influence. He wanted to bury someone's legacy in the open during a real war. Drake returned. Drake returned, of course. He stopped doing push-ups in April 2024, called Kendrick short, questioned his pen, and continued to give his talk as usual. Drake then went one step further and abandoned custom-made freestyle. It was at this point that he committed his first significant error. To body Kendrick, he used AI-generated rhymes from Snoop Dogg and Tupac Shakur. As soon as possible, the Tupac estate came out and vowed to sue him. They claimed, I'm paraphrasing, that it was more disrespectful to use Tupac's voice against Kendrick Lamar, who had only shown respect for Tupac's legacy. In a matter of days, Drake was forced to remove the song. He had already committed a mistake from which there was no turning back before the actual conflict even began. But hold on, things get worse. Kendrick Lamar releases Euphoria on April 30th, 2024. Kendrick raps for 6 minutes and 13 seconds, sounding like a man who has been waiting years to speak. He had no hook with him, didn't have a melody. He simply rapped. Examine Drake's persona, his image as a culture vulture, and his connection to Black culture as a mixed-race child from Toronto who made a profession out of acting blackness for the general public. Kendrick wasn't finished, despite the internet going crazy. Another disc is released in Los Angeles on May 3, 2024 at 6:16. Now, family, Kendrick was rolling. And to his credit, Drake made a strong comeback. Drake released Family Matters, an 11-minute song, on May 3rd. He charged Kendrick with domestic violence. He asserted that one of Kendrick's children was biologically fathered by his creative partner, Dave Free. He attacked everything, including his personal life, his reputation, and his image. It was the kind of record that would have ended a career if the accusations had been true. 20 minutes later, Kendrick released Meet the Grams. Everyone recognized something was different at that point. Before Family Matters ever came out, Kendrick had already written his reply. He had met the Grams head-on and had anticipated every blow. The bizarre element is that it was written like a letter to Drake's parents, not to Drake, accusing him of sex trafficking and bringing up the presence of a second secret child that Drake had purportedly kept concealed from the public. In 2018, Pusha T revealed Adonis, the first mystery son. After Kendrick mentioned that there would be another one, May 4th, 2024, came around. Unlike us, a certified lover guy, a certified child molester. You all already know that one line. However, the entire song was a weapon. Even individuals who had never listened to Rap Beef were streaming 4 minutes of Kendrick rapping over a DJ Mustard beat because it was so catchy and unquestionably amazing. It was melodic. There was a chant. There was an almost festive vibe to everything. Drake has worked for years to establish himself as the most successful rapper in the world. Kendrick outperformed the man who created the pop crossovers, the meme records, and the top 40 radio spots for street music. Compared to everything Drake had produced in the same season, his diss single was more entertaining, catchy, quotable, and suitable for radio play. Drake attempted to reply once more on May 5, 2024. He refuted the charges in The Heart Part 6. He said that Kendrick had fallen for a trap set by his team, which had given him false information concerning the second secret child. For perhaps 48 hours, the internet was split. Then Kendrick gave a performance at the Pop-Out that wasn't like ours. He performed 6 times in one night at his own show at the Kia Forum in Compton. 6 times. LeBron James was present. In the arena, the entire city of Los Angeles was present. The verdict was rendered in an instant. Drake was defeated. The streets were aware of it. The culture was aware of it. Not Like Us won every category at the 67th Annual Grammy Awards in February 2025, confirming its status even at the highest level of the music industry. Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, Best Music Video, 5 for 5, and Diss Track were among the nominations. Kendrick Lamar also wins the Grammy. Cheering during the Grammy Awards, a diss tune about Drake won Song of the Year. Then, 2 weeks after the Grammy Awards, Kendrick performed Not Like Us in front of Super Bowl 59, the largest audience a halftime show has ever seen. Despite the word being censored, the crowd chanted the certified pedophile lyric so loudly that it could be heard on broadcast television. On that platform at the Super Bowl, Serena Williams, a woman Drake was rumored to have dated, performed as a dancer. The damage Drake suffered from Kendrick Lamar on a national and international level is likely the biggest public loss any rapper has ever suffered in a rap conflict, according to one music journalist from Complex. I'm paraphrasing. Forget about it. When Drake created Iceman, he was entering that circumstance. Drake didn't say anything on record between that Super Bowl in February 2025 and the Iceman drop in May 2025. On Valentine's Day 2025, he released Some Sexy Songs for You, a collaborative album with Party Next Door. However, that was not the correct one. Drake was withdrawing into his comfort zone. In a leaked freestyle titled Fighting Irish Freestyle from January 2025, he addressed the feud and appeared to take aim at LeBron and UMG, although it lacked vigor. Hip Hop DX referred to it as empty tough talk. Really, nobody moved. Then, in January 2025, Drake released a song about the feud that revealed all about his worldview. He sued Universal Music Group, his own company, for defamation because they did not promote like us. He was suing the system, not Kendrick. He said that a song that falsely accused him of being a pedophile was actively promoted by UMG, that Lucian Grange, the CEO of the label, had openly praised the Grammy win for a song that disparaged his client, and that the whole thing was a ploy to influence contract negotiations. But this is the actual tea. In October 2025, that lawsuit was dismissed. Drake is still appealing, but he has no legal standing. Drake therefore had one more move to make in 2026. Remind everyone who the hell he was before all of this began by releasing the greatest song of his life. Iceman was meant to be that. The rollout was significant. I'll give it to him. Prior to the publication, he produced a 4-episode YouTube live stream series. In episode 4, he teased bars that the internet instantly interpreted as jabs at K. Burnt down what looked to be a bot farm on camera, and alluded to claims that Kendrick's streaming figures for Not Like Us were inflated. At the conclusion of the stream, he disclosed that he would not be releasing a single album. 3 were being dropped by him. It was Everything at Midnight, 43 tunes, Habibi, Iceman, and Maid of Honor. He took control of Toronto's CN Tower, set it on fire, and created a spectacle. Additionally, a song titled 1 a.m. was leaked prior to the album's official release. The M. An extension of his timestamp series appeared online in Albany. Drake made fun of Kendrick's height on it, likening him to Muggsy Bogues. He attacked LeBron. He attacked Dr. Dre. Drake was in full warfare mode, chatting away to anyone who would listen. The scene was prepared. After locking down the entire civilization, Iceman fell. Let me now explain exactly what Drake said about Kendrick on Iceman since, as you can see, he dispersed the insults throughout a number of tracks, making it difficult to discern Drake's true motivations. Make them pay's initial attempt. Damn, who is this guy for real? I guess a magician, Drake exclaims as 100 million streams disappear. There were no questions for new. The streaming accusations Drake brought up in his UMG lawsuit are the subject of the magician's line. The notion that, unlike us, their figures were overblown. Additionally, those streams allegedly decreased after the lawsuit was quickly dismissed without Kendrick being questioned about it. Drake is attempting to sow doubt about the veracity of Kendrick's triumph in terms of statistics. We were able to test the position after they received a new GOAT for the same song. That sentence is a clear reference to Kendrick's Motherfoot and the Big Three. It's simply me. All right, you want the throne? Drake says, come protect it. Second shot on dust. Drake raps, which year did you claim to have received slaps? Because I don't recall it happening that way. I can't recall a single word from your raps. It's obvious that the point of this one is petty. Outside of the fight, he refers to Kendrick as musically irrelevant. For example, he just has diss tracks and his body of work is unimpressive. From the man who was defeated by one of those diss recordings for the Grammy. Drake said this line even though it was bound to be laughed out of the room. Multiple tracks, height jokes, and a third shot. At 1 in the morning, the Muggsy Bogues Q. The M in Albany. For once, Muggsy Bogues made a dunk. I'm a little in awe myself. Give the child a raise, please. In NBA history, Muggsy Bogues is renowned for being the shortest player. Drake is making fun of Kendrick and expressing admiration for K.Dot's success despite her diminutive stature. And see, Drake has already reached the pinnacle of. The energy of push-ups was the same in 2024. 2 years later, he's still aiming for the same bar, which says something. Shot number 4. And the most intriguing one is this one. Drake targeted Kendrick's image as a mindful rapper. He gave a glimpse of a bar that hit differently in episode 4 of his live webcast. White children pay attention to you because they feel guilty. And that's how your soul is satisfied. You return to the hills after giving out turkeys in your neighborhood on camera. Allow me to reiterate that. White children pay attention to you because they feel guilty. Drake is challenging the sincerity of Kendrick's activism and community image, claiming that his charity work is only theatrical clout rather than genuine love for Compton, and that the majority of his fanbase consists of guilty white liberals rather than the black community he purports to represent. That's a deliberate bar that targets the core of Kendrick's identity as a cultural voice, his reputation, and what makes him Kendrick. This is where things get insane, though. Drake's claim that the majority of Kendrick's fan base consists of white, guilty liberals may be, musically, accurate. However, this comes from Drake, a mixed-race Canadian rapper whose early career was based on showcasing black Southern culture. The way he wants it to land is not achieved. That was instantly recorded by the internet. Family, you can't be the official culture vulture and criticize someone else based on their demographics. That doesn't add up, does it? The reference to the trapped owl in the 5th shot. Drake concludes, the owl never sees the cage. The owl only wakes up to seize the day. A caged owl appeared in Kendrick's Not Like Us video. A clear graphic representation of Drake being imprisoned and vanquished. Drake is attempting to reclaim the owl as a representation of authority and freedom by reversing that iconography. On paper, the song is clever, but the issue is that it only serves to remind everyone of the original video and everything Kendrick did with it. The 6th attempt. I'm not suing a rapper, I'm battling the man. Bees on the table are the source of that. Drake responds to criticism of the lawsuit. Many believed it was a tame move, a legal ploy rather than a hip-hop response, to file against UMG rather than Kendrick directly. Drake claims he is targeting the organization rather than the performer. It is up to you whether or not you think that reframing is necessary. The West Coast is the 7th. Drake informs Kendrick that folks in Oakland also adore him on Too Hard, 4, and Radio, which has a beat that sounds West Coast. As if he's attempting to undermine Kendrick's loyalty to his local homeland. Then he especially targets Mustard. Mustard found out about us. I had to catch up with the snacks. Since YG and I rapped, you haven't had one. In essence, Drake is criticizing the entire camp by claiming that Kendrick's DJ, his collaborator and the man who turned Not Like Us into an indisputable single, hasn't had a hit since the Drake era. You've now heard everything explained. Drake's criticism of Kendrick Lamar spanned 3 albums and 43 songs. And the question that the entire culture is currently debating, from DJ academics to Joe Budden to every barbershop from Compton to Toronto, is, did it work? Real talk, real family, and real recognition. On the internet, there is a common belief that Drake rapped better than he has in years. The technical quality of the Iceman songs is amazing. Bars are more constrained. Delivery is more precise. He seems driven. Strong performance as a rap act. Here's the problem with this particular battleground, though. Rapping isn't the only thing. It has to do with narrative. Furthermore, Drake's current narrative is so strongly biased in favor of Kendrick that even skilled bars are unable to completely expose him. Consider the chronology. After 2 years, Drake releases 43 songs, and a significant portion of his main album is still about Kendrick Lamar, what Kendrick did to him, streams that disappeared, bots, the lawsuit, the owl, the hype, GNX and the West Coast, and the conscious rap image. Each and every one of those bars alludes to the beef that Drake openly lost. You stop discussing the struggle once you've emerged victorious. You keep bringing it up when you're the one who's still hurt. And that's what the streets are saying. Kendrick hasn't made any posts, replied, or officially acknowledged Iceman. His music videos for Luther and Not Like Us vanished from YouTube just a few hours prior to the album's release before reappearing. In an attempt to determine whether that was a move or a bug, the internet went berserk. Posts about Kendrick's upcoming counter-project, Fireman, began to circulate. Before the Fireman rumor was exposed as a total fraud, the buzz was genuine for a brief period of time. However, the very fact that such a rumor went viral indicates something. People are creating the answer before Kendrick responds because the culture is so eager for him to do so. Power is that. Leverage is that. Kendrick has remained silent. Drake's entire camp are already on edge due to him, wondering when the retaliation will occur. Here's what actually took place. When people view this scenario as just a contest to see who can release the best diss track, this is what they continue to ignore. Kendrick Lamar won't be responding to Drake's criticism of him on Iceman. At least not the way Drake wants it to. Here's why. This is the most crucial aspect of the entire breakdown, so pay attention. Kendrick has already prevailed. Furthermore, the victory was so complete that Iceman's accomplishments would be diminished if he responded with a diss track. Consider the man's actions. He took home 5 Grammys. He gave a performance at the Super Bowl. He released GNX, an album that didn't even need to include Drake by name. That was just Kendrick showcasing his talent and legacy in the post-beef era through. After that, he embarked on an extensive global tour. Drake was teasing albums, publishing lawsuits, and doing live streams during this time. Acting as though the chapter is over has been Kendrick's approach from the start of 2025. And that would be the most disastrous thing he could do to Drake's story. Iceman requires Kendrick's response in order for it to be relevant in the manner that Drake desires. The beef is still going strong if Kendrick releases a rebuttal record. It implies that Drake will get another chance, another round, and another chance to speak with K-Dot. Drake is talking to himself if Kendrick remains silent. Drake is the man yelling at someone who has already left the building while he stands in the arena. Examine the receipts. Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us became one of the most streamed rap tracks on Spotify following the beef. GNX made its debut at the top. Arenas all over the world were sold out for his tour. His status as the greatest rapper alive was confirmed by the culture through institutional recognition, commercial dominance, and critical acclaim, all of which came at the same time in a wave. Iceman is currently dropped by Drake. His return, his declaration, his effort to take back the story. Not Drake's new music or Drake's new era, but Kendrick continues to be the album's main talking point. Even after Drake's own record was released, the discussion keeps returning to Drake's feelings regarding what Kendrick did. That's not winning the narrative. That's the story that is winning you. For now, let me keep it 100 with you guys. Drake has talent. I refuse to sit here and denigrate the body of work that this man created. Be careful. Nothing remained the same. It's too late if you're reading this. Opinions. The period between 2010 and 2018. Unquestionable. Legendary top 10 albums with a legacy akin to that of a generation. Even Iceman occasionally mentions Drake, who was the world's greatest at what he did. However, this is the unsettling reality that the entire society is currently facing. Kendrick's hype at the bars. Drake has been claiming that since the streaming bot allegations in Push UPS in 2024, the case was dismissed and the claims were never validated in court. Drake's criticism of the conscious rap audience doesn't resonate. Additionally, Kendrick's picture is referenced by the owl. That was ingrained in the society by Kendrick. Drake's mention of it simply keeps it alive. Kendrick has already responded to every bar Drake hurled at him on Iceman, not with a response song, but with actions. Before Drake had finished, the Grammy Awards addressed the question, "Nobody asks about your raps." The subject of whether Kendrick's music has a cultural impact was addressed by the Super Bowl performance. The GNX album provided an answer to the question of whether Kendrick could put the feud behind him and continue to produce excellent songs. The question of whether people are purchasing what Kendrick is offering is being addressed by the global tour. Therefore, when Drake claims that 100 million streams disappeared and no one asked questions, The truth is that there are 5 Grammy victories and a Super Bowl performance. The real response to Drake's statement, "I don't remember a word of your raps," is that 120 million people saw those raps performed live on the largest stage in American entertainment. Bars can't be used to disparage facts, family. This isn't how it operates. Where does this go then? In this case, what comes next? This is the actual conversation. 2 things occur if Kendrick reacts to Iceman and releases a song that explicitly addresses Drake's diss. 1. Iceman gains retroactive relevance that it doesn't now have on its own because the beef continues on Drake's terms. 2. Kendrick must simultaneously meet the Grammys, experience bliss, and not like us. There is such a bar. He made the statement personally. Anything below that degree of devastation is interpreted as him falling off. However, if Kendrick doesn't say anything, Drake will have to accept that his most anticipated album in years, his spectacular return, and his "I'm loading rebuttals" moment didn't spark as much societal discussion as Kendrick's absence did. The Fireman Rumor, an entirely fictional counter-album, garnered more online attention than half of Iceman's actual track list put together. That is an issue. And this is how I interpret it, maintain it 100. Kendrick has already responded. Not in the form of a diss track, in the form of silence, in the form of not acknowledging it, or in the form of the culture witnessing Drake make 17 different references to him throughout his comeback album while Kendrick is either on tour or in the studio performing precisely what he promised to do during his Super Bowl performance. Advanced culture. Before Iceman dropped, Kendrick's final public remarks on Drake were about waxed-out paintings from GNX. Even that wasn't straightforward. Rather than discussing Drake specifically or seeking retribution, he was discussing his legacy, his place in history, and what the dispute indicated about the society. That man has already flipped the page and concluded the chapter. Additionally, Drake has sent another letter to a person who has finished reading their letters. Tell me in the comments, everyone. Do you believe Kendrick reacts to Iceman, or does he remain silent and allow the culture to speak for him? Is Drake taking the correct route with this album? Or, because the talk hasn't ended, is he digging himself further into a hole from which he can't escape? By no means. The streets are observing. Kendrick is observing. And the stillness grows louder the longer he waits. That's the actual situation. Not a cap. This story is just getting started, so if you haven't subscribed yet, family, this is your chance. Iceman was only released yesterday. This is still in its first 48 hours. The reaction when it occurs. And something is on the way, I assure you. We will be here to dissect everything. Let's start by liking the video, subscribing, leaving a remark, and staying locked until the next time.